Is the Ukrainian Air Force targeting Russia's jamming systems in eastern Ukraine? Maybe. The Independent Conflict Intelligence Team noted the remains of American-made AGM-88 high-speed anti-radiation missiles in Donetsk as well as in neighboring Makiivka, both in eastern Ukraine's Donbas region. The radar homing harms, which Ukrainian Mikoyan MiG-29 and Sukhoi Su-27 fighters fire at Russian emitters such as air defense radars, may have targeted air defense batteries in and around Donetsk. But CIT noted that the Russians have installed Pol-21 radio jammers on civilian buildings. We do not rule out the possibility that HARM missiles could have targeted such systems, CIT stated. The evidence is inconclusive, but advocates of a free Ukraine should hope that's what's happening. A successful, large-scale counter-jamming campaign absolutely is a prerequisite if Ukraine is to break the current stalemate and make meaningful advances in 2024. That's because the Ukrainian Air Force currently lacks the pilots, warplanes and munitions, to say nothing of the doctrine, to achieve air superiority across the 600-mile front of Russia's 22-month wider war on Ukraine. Ukraine can't control the air everywhere, but it can control the air directly over the front line, where this control matters most for successful ground campaigns. It matters because both the Russian and Ukrainian armies use tiny, explosives-laden drones by the thousands to chase down vehicles and infantry. These FPV drones might be the third most dangerous weapon on the battlefield, after artillery and mines. When one side or the other manages to ground the enemy's FPV drones while continuing to fly its own FPV drones, the impact on the ground is stark. The drone-less side is paralyzed. The side whose drones still are flying has freedom of movement, and can attack with confidence. Look to Krynky, the tiny settlement on the Russian-controlled left bank of Dnipro River, in occupied southern Ukraine. This fall, Ukrainian forces systematically jammed Russian drones around Krynky while also striking Russian jammers in the same area. That created a dead zone for Russian drones over Krynky, and allowed Ukrainian Marines to assault across the river in safety. As they battled house to house to seize a bridgehead in Krynky, the Marines had local air superiority. Their drones could fly. The Russians' drones couldn't fly. This local air superiority hasn't prevented the Russian Air Force from lobbing powerful glide bombs at Krynky from 25 miles away. But it has prevented Russian army and air assault regiments from organizing a major counterattack that might threaten the Ukrainian bridgehead. Every time a Russian vehicle approaches Krynky, a Ukrainian drone swoops in, and blows it up. And the Russians can't strike back with their own FPVs. All that is to say, jamming and counter-jamming no longer are luxuries in the Russia-Ukraine war.